Welcome back to another episode of the Counterculture Podcast. I'm your host, Christian, along with my great friend and co-host, Taylor. And we're back doing our casual podcast, maybe every once a month, twice a month, whenever we feel like it, kind of at this point.
Yeah, it's a hobby for sure.
Yeah, it is. And I'm not mad about it because especially like a day like today, we talked about it, I needed this.
Yeah.
I needed it so bad.
Well, I mean, the podcast definitely is therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy it.
I mean, it's a typical millennial guy thing to do is instead of go and see a licensed therapist, just start a podcast.
Everybody and their mom has a podcast. Yeah.
Exactly.
Which has saturated the market, unfortunately, but we're still here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you hear the baby. That'll stop soon. But I don't know. This is fun to do, but people don't want to just hear us talk all the time. We used to be really, really good about topics, deep dives.
Yeah. Now we're terrible about it.
I honestly think between the 2020 election and going through COVID, I mean, we were on top of it.
We were. We tried to be, yeah.
I think, I don't want to say burned out because that's not the word. I think it just wore us down.
A little bit, man.
And now we want to talk about funner stuff or family stuff. And
yeah.
But even then, I mean, like, there's only so much to talk about unless something comes up. That now we just do it when we want to do it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
I'm okay with weekly still. We just took a little lull.
Yeah, well, part of it is it's like, again, I'm usually the one that kind of looks up stuff. Like sometimes my weeks get so crazy, I don't have time to really.
Yeah, we both work
check
full-time.
out stuff. Yeah, we do.
We both have three kids and a wife.
We both make money, yeah. So it takes time to do that. But one thing I actually wanted to get back into, I haven't done in a while, is bringing people on the show to talk. See,
it's a lot of work.
It is, but it's so much fun. It always
it's a lot
ends
of
up
work,
really well.
And I don't want to be rude. I don't want in-person interviews. I mean, if you get a good guest, which we've had several great guests on the show, it's easier to do it remote. It's more convenient for everybody, but there is a technology barrier that you have to kind of cross over.
Yeah, well, we have to kind of like bite the bullet and just get that whatever that program is with the duck.
But again, that costs money stuff too. Again, we just do this for fun, and so we may look back into it. Like there's like
$100, I think, for the year.
There's some that are like $30 a month. It just kind of depends on what you want to go through.
I think if we were to do one, I would just do one that's like just pay up the yearly, because it probably costs us. Either it costs us each $100 or probably costs us each like $50.
But yeah, you definitely need a good one because it definitely sucks when you're 30 minutes into a recording and you lose your guest. Or if you have been doing the recording the whole time and you think everything's good, and then there's an issue with the file downloading because only part of the interview that you just took this person's time and it like didn't all, download to the cloud or whatever. So yeah, there's better services out there. The one we were using used to be great, but I think the paid version of it got put out. So the free one started to have bugs. I think that's how they start to get you.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, we were doing that like once a month.
Yeah, we got to get back to that.
We were like doing 3 regular shows and like a guest. And I think that would be nice to get back into.
Yeah, we need to do that because I'd like to have like a few people like bring, especially because it's been so long, like bring back on like Rebecca.
Yeah.
Carla, Allie.
A third time.
Carla's so awesome.
Yeah.
She's like America's grandma. Like, she's the best.
Yeah. I mean, again.
Also, like, her and her husband, like, built a house. So we could talk about that. Yeah.
Well, I know that woman's busy. Doesn't she have, like, 8 kids and, like, several adopted ones, too? Or when we were talking.
I think she's got, like, one adopted, but, like, 9 kids, I think.
Yeah, it was like, it's a lot. She's busy.
Yeah. But then, like, Allie's been a mom for a while. So, like, we can talk to her about, like, her experience with that.
Yeah, because to be honest, I mean, I know it's kind of part of today's topic, which is funny. I'm kind of over talking about like women and men and like differences in the world and feminism and you know what I mean? It just
yeah. Well, what's funny is like part of the reason why I wanted, especially Allie, and is because like I was like talking to her on Instagram like very briefly, and she was talking about how like no one's ever really, it's like she spent a lot of time in like that like red pill manosphere space,
Right.
which we are going to talk about here in a little bit. But she's like, no one's ever asked her like what her opinion from the things that she's like looked at and like really experienced. Like no one's ever really talked to her about it in a genuine way. I'm like, oh man, I like, that's what kind of made me have the thought like we need to have her back on, or just have like start having guests back on so we can get into those fun. I know, I saw that you were close. But then also she, I guess, also was present during someone having a Catholic baptism, and she said she has an inkling to be Catholic. So welcome another member to the dark side.
Interesting.
Maybe no pressure.
So
no
see,
pressure.
that would be a better conversation.
But
I would
fun.
like that. Yeah,
it'd be fun.
Especially as these people start to become like parents of their own and stuff. So you can see the evolution from previous shows we've done with them.
Yeah.
To where it's been red pill and women and men and differences. Like, I feel like not us per se, but like the internet and podcasts in general, like they've beaten that to like a dead horse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of. I think, part of it is that like, it's two things. One of it is like, once you like dive into a space, like especially like on an algorithmic standpoint, like
right.
it's all you're going to get, right? If you start diving into a certain topic, well, like, that's why all of a sudden you like sneakers, and all of a sudden you have nothing but sneakers in your feed. I don't know. That's
or
weird.
Sonos sound systems.
Just weird.
It's already started. Yeah, it's
different things, right? Different things.
Well, that's why I've liked so much that in our past couple episodes, when it's just you and me, I mean, we've really started to dig into family and to children, things like that. And not that the other stuff's bad, but it's like a breath of fresh air. Because the other stuff, there's so much negativity that, I mean, when you talk about it and research on it and get ready and prepped for a show, then you talk about it for a little over an hour. I mean, it wears on you too, especially when, and I think that's why we kind of took a back seat and started doing, different episodes.
Try to do fun stuff. Yeah.
Which we've had some fun ones. Maybe it doesn't get as many views, but we enjoy ourselves. And again, if we're not enjoying ourselves, then
exactly.
we shouldn't be doing it.
Certainly like negativity sells, right? It's just reality, right?
Clickbait titles, all that.
Yeah. So,
well, speaking of that, I mean, I know this isn't the topic of today's show, but is it weird that we're getting so close to an election and like there's like no campaigning or anything?
It is a bit odd. But like everything about right now is weird. Like, so I'm gonna
not to rile you up.
Just working out. Break things over here.
Working out
a little bit. Like, it is amazing to me just how fucking crazy again, we don't need to talk about this really, but like the last few months or really honestly like few weeks has been fucking wild. Like what's going on, like as far as like politically and all that kind of stuff. Like I've been much more like not really paying attention to it because of.
Well, you've been kind of off social media too.
Yeah, I was off during Lent, but then also like because of that, I don't go on really as much. So when I went on recently, just because I was like bored doing something, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You have like weird shit with like Israel and Iran, and then like. You have like all these protests happening at like college campuses.
UT Austin even.
Yeah, UT. I watched a video of like students like getting in like actual fist fight with cops. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on right now? Like, what is happening?
It's a lot right now.
It's just like, oh man. Again, my only thought was like, man, this is gonna be a long year.
And there's a lot with like stuff happening in New York, like political figure wise and stuff like that, and it's. Something about the like Harvey Weinstein trial. Apparently, like a New York judge is like repealing it now.
Yeah, it did. It got thrown out. Like his I guess SA or that conviction got thrown out. And
that was the whole start of the Me Too movement. I mean, that was like a year of our whole lives. And for one person to have the power, or corrupt or not, whatever, to just like, it's just wild. We're in a crazy time.
We are. It's just so bizarre. And then you have this is an election year, and like it's very. Then
there's the whole Ukraine bill. What is this, a third one or something now? $92 billion.
I don't know.
And that's the one where they had the little TikTok ban snaked in at the end because it's the only way they can get it across. And now it's been signed. Like,
Yeah,
by the
apparently after starting January 2025, TikTok is no more unless they. I guess it's a ban, or it's going to be they have to basically do a forced buyout or something like that.
something
right?
like that. But TikTok found a way around it once they realized it was actually going through. They already had like a plan in action. Apparently, they started from the same company.
They started TikTok.
They started a U.S. based company that's going to absolve TikTok. So therefore, it's a U.S. company. Like at that point where they're based, and apparently it's supposed to be bigger and better and like overtake Facebook and Instagram, because it's going to be a different type of platform like that TikTok's going to have a part of.
It kind of has. I mean, again, like Facebook and Instagram have tried to change to mimic more.
But what's crazier than that is some of the politicians who have signed and just voted to push TikTok the ban through. Like they're like, if you do like the Instagram pages or TikTok, or like follow the whales or whatever, as far as their stocks and stuff. One politician like 2 weeks ago did where he purchased $350,000 worth of Meta stock. And then like the day before the vote came, he purchased another $350,000. So he's got $700,000 invested. And then he voted to ban TikTok, which if the ban goes through, you can only imagine Meta's stock is going to go up because they just lost competition. So it's a perfect example of insider trading. And it's like nobody's held accountable.
If I do that, I go to prison. If they do that, it's no big deal. Whatever.
It's wild. I mean, we've talked about this before. That's why I think politicians shouldn't be able to trade.
I think politicians should just be sent off to a deserted island.
No, I mean, no offense. We do need politicians, but it is a public servant. I think it needs to have a time limit, and it needs to be a capped salary. That way, you're only going into it to do your public service.
The issue isn't the salary. It's being able to take money outside of the salary. The salary is...
Right.
And that's the kind of the
But
joke,
if you could only be there like 8 years max, then it's not going to matter.
Well, but again, it's not the salary. I don't care that they make $174,000 that much. Really, I mean, it seems like they're overpaid, but I don't care about it that much. It's the ability to know what's happening, right? Like whoever that was that did that trade, right, and can do that. Where once the ban goes through, Meta stock is going to go up, and so therefore, this guy's $700,000 investment will turn into even if it just doubles, a $1.4 million investment in a day. Well, right? Like that's insane, because again, if the average American does that, the Fed boys will burst down your door and haul you off to
right.
Siberia,
so they need to have like a better check and balance system. I think it's not that their bank accounts need to be monitored, but
I mean, they already are.
If they're already not allowed to trade while in office, then that's not going to happen. Then you have to worry about the, back of the building handshake with major corporations as they push the legislature through or shut something down. For example, like Boeing or any of the big stuff.
Lockheed Martin,
Raytheon,
name them.
BlackRock, Vanguard, all that other kind of stuff. Like, again, you should be doing it for. I mean, it goes back to representation or taxation without representation. I mean, this $92 billion Ukraine bill got pushed through. Does a single American want that? Obviously, our representatives aren't doing what's in our interest.
It's weird, too, because when I did my taxes, I tried to name Zelensky as one of my dependents, and it didn't work. I'm not really sure why. I figured it'd be just fine with the amount of money that he's received, that adding him as a dependent would be no big deal, but apparently that is not okay. It's a bad dad joke. But it's just wild, man. It's just like
But again, all this starts to happen in domino, and the little snowball becomes a snow boulder, going down the hill. Yeah. And it's all started 2020, and we've been covering it.
Oh yeah.
And now we're kind of just like, no surprise.
Yeah.
What's going to happen next? Oh, 100,000 migrants just pushed a wall down and they're running into the country, and like Border Patrol and Texas National Guard, they're ordered to stand down. If that were to happen, I'd be like, well, doesn't surprise me.
Yep, just another thing.
And that's a scary thought. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like, the president of Mexico talking about how they want to get stricter with Americans who are coming over and getting like visas or citizenship because they're coming over because it's so much cheaper, and they're buying vacation homes and they're working U.S. jobs remote, but they want to do it for Mexico because cost of living is better. But it's causing the peso to like, and all that. The cost of living, everything's going up in Mexico now. So they're complaining. The president of Mexico even came out and made a statement saying like, hey, we're not going to allow anymore. Like, we're going to get stricter with it. And it's like, oh, this coming from you. Very nice.
Oh, yeah.
But
well, yeah.
Rules for thee, but not for me kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, with that, I would say, the president of Mexico is in the right in doing that for what's best for his country. And like we've said before plenty of times, the people in charge do not care about the average person in this country.
No.
Just once you accept that, you'll feel better at night. Or you won't. But it is the reality that you should accept that the people in charge just don't care about you or your family. And that is, again, it's just shown by things like, again, this $95 billion, bill to, Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan or whatever. It's like, look, man, like, I'm sorry these things are happening, but like, holy shit, like, gas is out of this out of this world expensive in a lot of places in the world. I mean, it's about $3 a gallon here. If you go into the city, it's more.
Well, like diesel's more than that.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about gas.
But the funny thing is, diesel used to be cheaper than gas.
It did
because it's less refined.
Right.
It's like it's less work, so it should cost less. But it's more of a supply and demand issue.
Correct.
Most trucking, I would say, all of the heavy freight is diesel.
Right.
Makes more money.
Yeah.
It's like organic vegetables, organic fruits and vegetables.
You're like, hold on a second.
Now, if you think about it, farmers are, to my knowledge, if I'm wrong, somebody correct me in the comments if you want to leave one. But you don't use pesticides. So technically it should be cheaper because you're not using chemicals. So unless you're using other methods to deter pests like netting or other things that's going to make your costs go up, why are we paying more for organic? Because if you go to like a farmer's market where all that stuff's like organic anyways, I mean, it'll be cheaper because you're buying it roadside and all that, or at the farmer's market. But whenever it's shipped in the same trucks and everything else that's at your grocery store, the organic stuff's more expensive.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. It's like, it's all a big game. It's a big machine, and we're just along for the ride.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, again, it's like all these things, and I just
grass-fed beef. They're out there just eating the grass. That's as natural as it gets. Why is that shit so much more expensive?
I know. It tastes so much better though.
It does because it's better for you and it's better for the bovine. Like, I just don't get it. The simpler stuff is more expensive.
And a lot of it's just, I don't know.
It makes me want to get land and have my own cattle. I kill a cow a year and I can feed my whole family off that one cow for a year.
Yes. Actually, I looked up what it would cost to buy half a cow worth of meat. And a full cow worth of meat.
Me and my dad have looked into it. We want to go halves and split it in our deep freezers. I need a deep freezer, but theoretically we would split it.
Get a deep freeze. I can't tell you.
I know. I've been looking on Marketplace. I can get one for like $100.
Do it.
I will.
Do it.
I will.
Dude, it will change your life because here's, again, for someone like, for y'all where you guys are basically keto, carnivore diet, like, yeah, you got to go, because then you have things like I talked about, like, the Kroger here, close to us, right? On every week they have meat. Deals on some sort of protein, right? So you can get that, go there, load it up, boom, right? And you stick it all in your deep freeze, right?
See, but what I need to do with that too is a vacuum sealer. That way it keeps it better for longer.
Yes.
Because I do like a Ziploc bag and I'll like take my meat from the styrofoam wrap with the diaper that's in it, because you don't want to freeze all that together. Right. And I put it in a Ziploc bag and I pre-portion everything out so it's easier to defrost when you need it. And I stick a little straw in the Ziploc bag and I suck out all the air I can. But there's still a little freezer burn on it. But with vacuum sealing, and it's not that expensive. It's just one other thing I got to get.
No, it's not that expensive, but again, it's absolutely worth it. If you don't have a deep
same
freeze,
with growing your own produce.
get a deep freeze.
Making your own bread. I kid you not. My neighbor that moved in within this last year, it's an old couple, like 70s, 80s. Mr. Jim and Miss Jan. Jim and Jan. And they're nice to our kids. They wave and stuff. But he makes his own bread.
Oh, that's so based.
Yeah. And he's always given other neighbors bread, but never gave us bread. And we're like, dude, I'm the one who convinced you to move in. Because I was out mowing the yard or something, and they were looking at the house, and they asked about the neighborhood, and I convinced them. It was me. So give me some damn bread. Anyways, he came over, knocked on the door the other day, and he had made, they were still hot, homemade hamburger buns with toasted sesame seeds on top.
Stop.
There was like 4 in there. And I haven't been eating bread. I'm trying to be better, like complex carbs, all that fitness stuff. But they were so damn good.
I bet you they were delicious.
I ate it by itself. I ate like a whole bun. Not even cut. I was just eating the hamburger bun because obviously it's not sliced because he homemade them.
Yeah, he baked it.
It just makes you realize like how many ingredients and crap are in everything.
Yeah.
And when you make it from scratch, sure. If we didn't eat them all, then they're molding within 4 days on the countertop.
But that's natural.
But that's how it's supposed to be.
Yes.
It shows you how to use what you have when you have it. Don't overindulge. Don't overbuy. Things have a shelf life for a reason. The preservatives are killing you.
Yeah.
Like
everything in the grocery store is killing you. Do you understand?
Yeah, it's just wild. I mean, there's going to be I don't know what it's called. I'm going to call it like a great reset. If not,
hold on a second. I think I've heard that before.
Maybe is that?
Am I getting punked?
No. I'm sure there's going to be one. I think there's already a growing movement. Some people used to call them like survivalists or doomsday preppers and all that.
Oh yeah, preppers. Yeah.
But it's not as serious as like in the world times. But I think there's going to be a growing movement where people want to start doing little agriculture in their backyard, growing their own plants.
Well, I think we are. It already is happening. Like you said.
Look back even just to the 70s. You could walk down city streets and there were fruit trees, and you could pick fruit from the tree. But somewhere during the 70s, I was reading about this. All the cities cut down the fruit trees, and now we just have non-fruit bearing plants, whether it's oaks or anything else. Like nothing that gives back. But I don't know if it was just they didn't like people being fed for free. Imagine like homeless and you're walking down and you just pick an apple and an orange. Like, I'm not saying it's going to solve all your problems, but why did we stop doing fruit bearing trees?
That's
like,
interesting.
Like, why are H.O.A.s and stuff so tough on like what you're growing in your backyard, even if it's not over a fence? Like, I don't know.
Is that what the letters were about?
Those weren't. I'll talk to you about it though. But yeah.
But it is. It's silly. But even like I don't know. I think HOAs are if you like an HOA, you're a communist. That's all I have to say about that.
Dude, it's rough. I mean, it's like the government, but on a small scale, and you still feel like you can do nothing.
That's what I'm telling you. If you like the only people that like HOAs are communists.
Pretty much. Are HOAs technically good?
No.
Because I don't want my neighbor to paint their garage door pink and bring down all of our values.
I don't care that much.
You say that until your equity is affected. But they take what should be normal and then they exceed it. Okay, I'll tell you one example. I got a letter because I have a big front flower bed, and one of them said that I need 10 different species of plants in my front flower bed. You can drive through my little gated section over here. One house, everything's dead. Another one, the only plant they have in their entire front flower bed is one little like queen palm or one little sega palm.
Yeah.
That's it. Half of it's dead. They just remulch, but they have one plant. Mm. I've got several plants out there. I got plants that have flowers around my tree. I've got 2 bushes, 2 hollies that are still alive and some smaller stuff. Apparently that's not enough. And I'm going to get fined if I don't fix it within the next month. Because I don't have enough plants in my flower bed. So it makes me wonder, are all these other people getting letters too? Or like, another one is, I'll give you this. Okay, I'll give you this. Another one is, I recently fixed that fence that fell down on the side of my house. It was an old fence, fell down. Me and the neighbor, we went halves. He got permission. He sent a plan in. He got permission from the HOA. He asked if we could upgrade, if he could pull his fence forward to match mine. Like he got the approval of what it needed to be, because now we need rot board at the bottom. It needs to be all cedar, can't be pine, like all these rules. Did it, paid for it, went halves with them. It's been done. Got a letter from the HOA saying that I did a repair that wasn't approved. I fixed the fence.
Get out of here, man.
I put it in the same exact spot. I didn't make changes. I didn't do anything. And on top of that, everything was approved from a neighbor's side. And I mentioned it to them, and they were like, yeah, well, your neighbor got permission, but you didn't. So now I got to send like either a survey of the house, show them what and ask a letter of permission for something I've already done. Or I can send, if I don't have the survey for the house, I can send a Google Maps picture of where the fence line is. It's the stupidest thing.
I'm telling
it's
you.
Just, yeah.
HOAs are for communists.
You want to hear the last one?
Yes.
It's taking this much time. The last one is my truck, my white pickup truck that's outside. I back into the driveway. That's how I keep it parked. I use it daily. It is my daily driver. It is a functioning vehicle. No flat tires, no oil leaks, nothing. It needs a wash. But I mean, other than that, it's a good looking truck, I think. I got a letter from the HOA saying that I needed to remove the stored vehicle from my driveway. Like it was some hoopty on flat tires with paper on a window that was broken out or something, like it was a fixer-upper. And I called them about it, and that was one of my main frustrations. I was like, what is this one about? And they said, oh, your registration's expired. I'm like, so what does that have to do with y'all? Well, since it's not roadworthy, that means it's a stored vehicle. I'm like, I use this daily. They're like, oh, well, until you get your registration fixed, it's going to count as a stored vehicle. And if you don't fix it by the next time we do the inspection, then it's going to be a $50 fine. And I'm like, well, when's your next inspection? And they're like, oh, well, we usually do it once a month. And since we just did it, then it's probably a month from now. But sometimes we do 2 a month. And I'm like,
so is it 2 months or is it 1 a month?
So it's like a mystery. They could come tomorrow for all I know. It's like, but my mind is like, are we living in like a police state?
Yes.
They're going up and checking your registration and inspection. And if my truck is fine. It's not bringing down the value of anything. But because my sticker is expired, they're going to fine me.
Bro, it was wild to me. If I saw someone from the HOA walking up to my driveway doing that, I'd be like, if you ever set foot on my driveway again, I will take it as a threat. And I do not. And
I don't even think they get out of the car.
So therefore, I will treat you as such.
Like you always hear the funny stories about HOA where they're going to your grass and they're measuring it with like a ruler to see if it's too tall or. There's down my street, not my section, but coming in, somebody was doing like a plank board in a herringbone pattern and sticking it to the garage. So instead of seeing the metal panels, they were stuck to the thing. So when it opens, it looks like a decorative wood herringbone pattern. Looks nice. Well, not for this community because nothing else is going to match it. And I'm like, they were halfway through, and the whole thing I'm thinking, I'm like, if I got letters for this, they better get a damn letter for doing something like that. Like, I don't know, but it's just, it's wild. Like, other than that, I've loved my neighborhood. It's quiet here. It's like no problems, but like, damn.
That HOA, man. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, we're still in the early stages, so I don't have any HOA stories yet. I'm positive there will be. We'll just wait and see. I don't know.
10 species? 10 species.
That's wild.
Are you saying 10 plants or 10 different species? Because if I go out there, I'm going to count more than 10 plants in my flower bed. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Are they all supposed to be, you need 10 above knee height and then the rest can be flower? Like, it's not specific. It's wild.
Yep. Not good. Not good.
Anyways.
So I guess on that note, we should probably talk about the things that I planned on us talking about, at least this time.
Yeah.
Normally the last few times we talk about anything I planned. So this one was actually kind of interesting. So everybody knows, I would say, what OnlyFans is at this point. It's not really a mystery what that is about. And there was an interesting story that happened.
OnlyFans, it's an interesting thing how it started. It wasn't supposed to be what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a Patreon service.
Yeah.
Where people who wanted, like, I was going to say more intimate content, but that actually...
Well, in that case, I guess I guess is exactly
No,
what
but it was supposed to be more like, hey, if you like this creator, if you like this influencer, like instead of getting their stuff for free, you can pay $5 a month or whatever, and then you can get actual not webinars, like FaceTimes with them. You
Yeah.
could have more of like a relationship with
Intimate
them.
relationship with
You
them.
can be in their comment section. They'll message you back more because you're paying for a higher tier of interaction with this person.
Right.
Somehow somebody figured out that they could use that as a pay to view kind of service. And the company, instead of shutting it down, I think they tried to for a while. And then somebody was like, stop. It's a bad idea, Paul. We're making way too much money off this. Just go with it.
That's exactly what happened. They're like, yeah, we don't want to we really don't want to be a porn site. But they're like, oh man, that's a lot of money though. Nah, that's all right. Never mind.
Yeah, and now they're
You
just.
missed it again.
I did. Damn mosquito. But anyways, your story about this OnlyFans.
So there was this girl that it was a story maybe more like a month ago now, in all honesty. But I think it's an interesting story.
Okay.
I'll be curious. I have a question for you afterwards. So, her name was is Nala, I guess online. This is her name. I don't know if this is her real name.
Nala?
Yeah, Nala. Like
Now I can never watch The Lion King again.
Yeah, it's gonna ruin it forever. And she was an OnlyFans creator. Apparently, she was like in the top 1%, whatever, of creators, as they say. But recently, she had she had a come to Jesus moment, literally, I guess, and she turned herself around. I guess got baptized, and apparently
Baptized.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess she made enough dough that she was trying to save herself.
So it's funny you say this. So in this time, I think she made like $9 million in the time that she has had an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
So maybe those feet pictures don't sound like such a bad idea.
You know what? Just for the sake of the podcast, not for me, but for the podcast, I'll create an OnlyFans account. I'll do just about anything for anybody who wants to pay, but just for the podcast, not for me. My family's fine, you know.
I just do it for the pod.
Just for the pod.
Just for the pod.
Don't make it weird.
So
do you want my bathwater too? Like, come on,
dude. I have seen some weird shit online. Like, people are fucking weird, dude. People are fucking weird.
People are people, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So she has turned her life around now. She grew up the daughter of a pastor, right? And
you know what they say about pastors' daughters?
Well,
I mean, it may be a cliche, but it happened.
It did happen, right? So she did this, and again, she wasn't just selling feet pictures. Right? We'll just say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Like she was like a full on just
if you're top 1%,
adult film star.
Yeah, if you're top 1%, you're bearing all.
Yes, and so this happened, and a question came about, right? Because she had this. What seems to be a genuine transformation. I don't know her heart. It's not for me in that instance to judge of what she is saying for herself. Are you going to do a little upper decky or?
I'm a lower guy. Whatever.
Yeah, as far as this change. Here's the question I have. I'm curious what you think.
Okay.
So she's had this turnaround, right? Kind of get her life together in a sense, right? I would say on a moral standing, right? She's has deleted it, moved on, and trying to actually live a Christian life, basically. Is she beyond redemption?
Are you asking me for my personal opinion, or are you asking me as a follower of Christ?
Just what your thoughts? Like what? Like is she? Because that was a question that was, I think, posed in a sense. Is she beyond redemption?
So my personal opinion, when it comes to theology and all that, has been that you can't do whatever you want and then just one day hope that you can just be forgiven whenever you're done doing what you wanted to do. Such as murderers, SA, rapists, all that kind of stuff. And then you're in prison and you feel bad and you've been there for 5-10 years and you suddenly come to salvation. Like, but if you read the book, I mean, technically all you have to do is ask for forgiveness, and technically all shall be forgiven. And I don't know if it's that black and white, or if it's more shades of gray. Now, if you're weighing her on an Egyptian scale against a feather on whether her heart and soul is truly pure, and if she truly is sincere in this, then, I'm not the creator. That's not my decision to make, but I definitely think there's people who've done worse who probably shouldn't be forgiven, but I don't know. I'm happy for her if she's truly sincere about it and she's trying to turn her life around. But again, the internet's forever. But, if you want to make your peace with God, and if you truly want to be forgiven, I mean, it's not like a one and done situation. I mean, until you pass away, I mean, you're going to have to be proving it every single day. You can't just like drop to your knees one day and ask for forgiveness and then go back to doing whatever you want to do. Well, even if you stop that, but I mean, you're going to have to live like a Christian lifestyle.
You're more Catholic than you give yourself credit for.
Probably. Now, whether her father forgives her, I don't know how good of a pastor he is, but man, I've got 2 girls. Let me just say that I don't know.
See, it's interesting. It's interesting you bring up that last point, because there is not this girl, but there is another one who is a famous adult film star named Riley Reid.
Okay.
And I saw this.
What did you see?
This video, pretty easy. Okay, of her. I don't know if it was like a Instagram like live or something, but someone had asked her, I think, about her family. And she kind of opened up in a sense and talked about how, like, because of what she has done and the path she went down, that her family has basically just kind of abandoned her, right? They really want nothing to do with her, and
I don't think abandoned is the word. I mean, they've pulled away.
Well, they want to cut ties. Yeah, that's it. They
because abandon means that like she did almost like nothing wrong and they walked away.
That's fair.
So
that's a fair
she made her choice.
And they said,
I'm sure it wasn't
we want none of that. Yeah,
but I'm sure it wasn't that severe at first. I'm pretty sure it's like, hey, any normal person or any normal father would be like, I don't approve of this. I don't condone the direction you're going. You need to stop. And there's probably some kind of talk that was probably had like, I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm a grown woman, blah, blah, blah. And now she's gone down this path, and now she's feeling sad that she's got no family.
And that is, in a sense, some of that is correct, right? She opened up in how she's like, I have no one. Like, I don't know my family. I haven't talked to them. Mm-hmm. I don't know them. And she was getting emotional because of
Well, I'm sure.
Of that.
Because any friends that she makes or potential partners, they're all going to know her for who she is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like trying to be Justin Bieber and have a serious relationship. You're never going to know, at least not off the bat, if somebody's with you because you're Justin Bieber.
Or because they like you as the person that you actually
exactly.
are.
Like,
right?
I'm just saying, like, you've made a name for yourself. And so now you're truly alone because the people around you, either they're following you for clout, for, fame and notoriety, whatever, notoriety?
Notoriety.
Or notoriety.
Notoriety.
Right? Anyways, yeah. Look at us. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, and then you get down this road, you've made your money, and you're left empty inside, and then you've got nothing else. Mm-hmm. It goes back to what we've talked about many times. It's like, it doesn't matter how much money you have. You could still be like lonely and empty on the inside. Mm-hmm. I mean, just because you live in the Hollywood Hills doesn't mean your life's perfect. Now, money does help a lot of things, but I mean, like,
yeah,
some of the happiest people are in third world countries living in huts. They've got like their family. They've got everything that matters, their morals, their faith. I mean, you can be so whole as a person with having so little. So, I mean, of course she's probably feeling this way after, but it goes back to this other person we were talking about, the one who's made her $9 million or whatever, and now she wants to turn her life around. It's like, You didn't want to do that after you made your first 100K, your first your first $1 million. No, that wasn't good enough. You wanted to keep going. You got a taste for it.
Yeah.
And it's only now that you've made it and you're comfortable and you could probably retire, not have to do anything for the rest of your life. And you're like, I need to save myself now. I don't think God looks at you like, you could have stopped at any time. You knew this was wrong, but you wanted to finish what you were doing. And now you want to come around.
Yeah. And I think that's the challenging part, right, in this conversation of redemption, because if someone were to ask me, is there anyone that is beyond redemption, and the answer in a certain sense is no, someone isn't. However, I think the challenging part is, again, like for us, like you don't know their heart, you don't know their soul, so you really can't know, and ultimately that's for them to live with.
Mm-hmm.
At the when it comes to Judgment Day, that's a you thing that you have to deal with, not me.
Yeah.
Right. I can say you're genuine, and I hope you are, and I hope you use that, in her instance, use that money towards, furthering the kingdom of God. Right. If you want to look from a Christian perspective,
donate it all to a church. That's a good start.
But
or charity. I don't know about the church.
Yeah, it's church, charity, whatever, mm-hmm. Right? But then what do you do going forward? And part of that is like you said, like this. As far as I know, this Nala girl, I think I'm sure like in her 20s or whatever. I don't know really much about her, but part of my reason why with the redemption question is just in the here and now. Right? We're not just talking about like on a spiritual level, but like in the here and now. It's like the reality is kind of like what you said, like the internet is forever. Like she could delete her OnlyFans, she can delete those videos off the OnlyFans, but someone somewhere still has those. Yeah. And they're somewhere else, right? Whether you want them there or not. And part of it's unfortunate, similar to this other, like again, like the other girl I gave the example of, it's like that lives forever, and the people that you associate with will eventually find out if they don't already know. Mm-hmm. And in the prospects of if this woman wants to raise a family and get married, like that's something you're gonna have. That's a major issue you're gonna have to deal with. And of course, for a lot of, I think any man that has any self-respect, unfortunately, like do you lock that down? Do you enter that into that? And it's like,
it's not for me.
Yeah, for me too. And again, I think that's any guy would say that. Like, look, I was reading in the New York Post article.
Everybody wants a new car. They don't want a car with 200K on it.
Yeah, well, that's true. Right. No one wants a car with mileage.
Yeah, but you can get new tires, you can get a new paint job, but that motor's worn down. I don't know.
Shit. But and in the New York Post article they had pictures of her doing interviews or whatever, and it's unfortunate. I mean, she's certainly she's an attractive young woman, but you carry that with you, and it's like that's not something that can be easily looked over, and so it is sad because I do believe, right, on a spiritual level, she's not beyond redemption when it comes to that and her soul. However, unfortunately, when it comes to like the world, like you can't escape that, and maybe there'll be a guy that I guess down the road that maybe can look past that and maybe give her a loving relationship. And I say that only also because being involved in the industry that she was in, it's a place devoid of love. It's very dark. It's very sinister. It's very evil. It's very degrading.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this: the only chance she has is like take her money, buy a villa on like a Greek island, and hope you find a local who's never met you, never heard of you.
Yeah. Yeah, that could work too.
Yeah, but here in America, good luck.
It is unfortunate, but it is the reality.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, again, like these girls, that do these OnlyFans, like that, it's not going to live forever. I mean, granted, just like any industry, in all honesty, most of them don't make any money because it's just the law of averages. Like in any industry across the board, only the top percentage actually make a lot of money at it. no matter what you're talking about, whether it's the adult film industry or an NBA player, right? It's only the top echelon, right? Actually make money.
But technically, any NBA player is still doing better than you and I.
This is true.
Yeah, so I mean,
this is true.
Speaking in averages here.
Well, yes. But I just wanted to ask that because I just thought it was interesting, and I wanted to see kind of what you thought, just because it is an interesting moral question, and again, my hope is that she continues to make that growth and ultimately does, make her way, down the spiritual path. But it's just a sad reality, that she's not going to be able to escape in a certain sense. And, it's just, it's one of those things, but yeah, it's just, I do feel sad for her because I have to imagine, although again, she did make a lot of money and all that kind of stuff. And it's hard because it's kind of like you were saying, like, oh, well, now that you've made $9 million, well, now we want to stop it now. And, I can only judge upon what I see or what I, read. And all I can hope for is genuine and she makes it right.
Yep.
But, kind of like what you're saying too, it's, when you have a daughter, it just, you see these things in a very, I think, different light.
Oh yeah.
You're
not some single bachelor anymore. Like you're like, oh yeah, forget what they say. You do you, girl. Like, no, like you have a family, you have kids, and then you start thinking about what's that look like for them? What does that look like if you were the father of that daughter? Like, I'll do anything for my kids, especially like my girls, because like a son can, it's a little bit different raising a boy. Yes. They can kind of take care of themselves. The world views them differently. He's got different expectations. But like girls, like, I don't know, you're not always going to be there to protect them. So you hope that you raise them the right way, that they have enough self-awareness and especially self-respect, that they don't go down roads like that, or they don't hang out with the wrong crowds, or they don't go to the wrong places at the wrong times, like late at night, and put themselves in situations where bad things could happen. Like a lot of this stuff that you hear and see about in the news and all that, a lot of it's like common sense, wrong place, wrong time. And you just kind of hope that, like, I don't know. And even if you raise them right, like one little falling out or disagreement, and they may go out there and do something just to spite you. And then heaven forbid something bad happen then. I don't know. It's just, girls are not easy. So
yeah, and so you have to give your in-laws a lot of credit. They dealt with a lot of girls, and it was something that was told to me. It was like a talk or a video or something, and they said, just to humanize, right? When it comes to the adult film industry, it's like, whenever you think about looking at that stuff again, it's like, just take a second to know, like, that's someone's daughter, that's someone's sister.
That could be your daughter,
right? What if it was your family member and you saw and someone was treating them that way?
Yeah,
and
leaves a little bit different taste in your mouth.
I think it definitely hit me in a certain way, because it's like, man, like that's sometimes it's sad that it takes you like kind of that sort of instance to kind of realize, oh, what's happening. But sometimes you have to make it personal for people to kind of take a step back and recognize, like, oh, like,
because unfortunately really the only way that industry is going to change is if everybody stops using it.
Yeah. Well, heck, I mean, think about legislatively, like in Texas, like what, it's the name of the website, I don't know, maybe we got in trouble, but Pornhub is like banned.
Really?
Yeah, like if you're in Texas, right? Because of course it just connects it to the IP, right? I was reading an article, like,
well, that's awesome.
You go there and like it won't let you watch any videos, and it'll say, they say, oh, like you're in a place where like you need to call your congressman. This is a First Amendment, blah blah blah. All this bullshit.
But see, that's awesome, because I didn't ever think that kind of stuff was happening.
Yeah.
But the conversation has always been that unless people stop using it, they're going to keep making money and keep doing it.
So what it is there we put in place an age verification law, right? Which is strange, right? You would think like, oh, like for, we want to make
Explicit
sure
sites,
it's only for adults, right?
Right.
Well, I guess once they actually crack down and actually had a real age verification, like we'd have to shut down our service. Well, wait, hold on. What's the big deal? Right? Oh, no, what you're telling me is, oh, you want to make sure that kids underage find this stuff, which I mean, of course you do, because if you get a kid that's 10 years old on their iPhone or iPad or whatever that finds this shit, right? Or I think nowadays it's like the average age is like 8 years old.
That's wild.
You got them. I mean, again, we came up in the early days of like kind of internet, like pornography. You want to talk about now and the sort of access there is now at 8 years old? I mean, you talk about having a addicted user for a long time.
Yep. Well, that's why I'm so particular about like my kids' tablets and everything too, and all the age restrictions. I mean, they can't even download a kid's game app or anything without me being able to give permission first. Like, and is it a pain in the butt because they always want new games, do this, and I have to open my phone and check it and approve it and do all this. But unfortunately, I mean, with as much accessibility that they have now, you have to. Back in the day, it was like you had to go to like the family computer and make sure like nobody was like there.
You're watching your
and
back.
But those were the risks. And if you got caught, then there were talks, and you could have those talks like you're the one you were talking about and kind of show them. But if you don't know what's happening and it's happening at an earlier age, then how long does it go on until you do find out that your kids are doing this? Like, I don't know. It's easier to curb that right when you kind of catch on to it. But like you said, if they've started at 8 and then next thing you know they're 22, it also affects like how you objectify and treat women and how you view intercourse and everything else. It's like, it's supposed to be this like, I don't want to sound cheesy, but like this beautiful thing, you know what I mean, that you share with somebody else.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, it changes people. And then
it does.
Like, even
and
though
it fucks with your brain. I mean, I don't know how many. There's so many different sources you can look at of how it just messes with you. It messes you up.
Well, see, that's the funny thing too, because just like that dopamine, that addiction, that feel like you need to, because that's what it is, and it's an addiction, but it's not much different than like doom scrolling or TikTok or anything else.
Yeah.
Now, granted, ideally nobody's getting hurt or trafficked through that, but I mean, we've talked about this on the show before about even just the adult film industry. It's not all like sunshine and rainbows and consensual. A lot of these people feel like they're trapped there, or maybe they were trafficked.
Yeah, they were trafficked, or they're heavily basically sedated through drugs, right? I mean, it's just, God help us. I mean, it's just very, very dark.
Well, that's what I've been seeing a lot too, is all the crackdowns and a lot of actual just like YouTubers or TikTokers taking it into their own hands to bait and trap pedophiles. They'll like pose as like they'll have their like younger sister who may be of age but pretends to be younger, and then they lure these predators to like a McDonald's or something, and then they like videotape and they're like, "We've got you." The cops are like pulling up right then and there, and they get it all on video. Like, the adult film industry is one thing, but the child version of that industry is so much worse. And like,
it feeds into it.
Oh,
People
yeah.
They want to ignore it, but it feeds into it. And again, it's not some weird fucking QAnon weird. No, it's this is reality.
It's
like this,
like
this
a
is
dark
happening.
web, super money making machine.
Yes.
And I mean, that, to be honest, that's one of the main reasons that I don't post my kids on Facebook or anything anymore. I mean, it's a sick thought, but I don't want anybody like, even though my profile was like private, but you don't know, unfortunately, what other friends or family or acquaintances may see a picture of like my daughter in a swimsuit playing at my mother-in-law's, and like be aroused or something by that. Like
Yeah,
I'm not trying to go that
yeah,
direction, but you know what I'm getting at. It's just you got to protect your kids, and if you don't practice what you preach, I mean, it's just going to continue. And unfortunately, it's going to take everybody to kind of make all that stop. But it's nice to see, to my point, that there's a movement to where people are trying to crack down on this, when at the same time of the last 2 years, there's also been the opposite of that movement trying to justify that.
Yeah.
You know, where we can't even say that word anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I already used it once. I don't want to get flagged or anything. I'm not sure how that all works anymore, but just like, that's what you're a predator. That's all it is. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for anybody. I don't care what kind of movement you're part of. It's wrong.
Yeah. And,
Minor attracted person. You can F right off.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Well, there's a special place in hell for you. So.
Yeah, like me or my wife are always going with our kids into the bathroom, and it sucks because when I was like even 10 years old, I was riding my bike through the neighborhood, no cell phone, like until it became street lights coming on. Like I wasn't home, and like now I won't even let. I used to be able to go. We could be at a family restaurant having dinner, and I could be like 8 years old, so I have to go to the bathroom. And even if my parents could view the bathroom doors from where we were sitting, I could go to the bathroom, wash my hands, you know, say, excuse me, pass a stranger, wash my hands, you know, go out the door, come back, fine. I won't let my kids go to the bathroom by themselves. My son's about to be 8. I won't let him go. I don't know who's waiting in a stall in there. I don't know what or anything could happen. And unfortunately, that's the sick society we live in now. And until you have kids, you're not even going to think like that. You're going to think from the other side, and you're like, what does it matter what bathroom they use?
No big deal or whatever.
It's, you know, it's not hurting anybody. It's their, no, if you get past that way of thinking and start to get on the other side of things, your algorithm is going to change too, or you're going to start getting different news. And there's examples all across the U.S. of where these predators are identifying as something else, and they're preying on little girls or little boys in different bathrooms. So I don't want to hear the argument that it's like, it's innocent. It's just...
Yeah, no, fam.
No. So...
No, thanks.
I mean, I'll put somebody down. I'll go to court and prove it. I don't care. I'll get locked away for all I care before I let anything, you know, befall my kids.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Got serious there.
It did, but it is the reality. Like, don't do not F around, because you will find out, and it will not be fun.
Yeah.
It will not be fun.
Try that in Texas.
Yeah. We're not going to do all that. So, but, yeah, I mean, I guess on that note, I mean, I don't, let's talk about, I guess on a positive note, right? Post Malone's coming out with the country album, and the first song with Morgan Wallen hopefully is coming out soon, because
you heard that song, Drunk Dial, right?
Yeah, with that one guy. Oh, it's so good.
Dial Drunk or Drunk Dial, one of the two.
It's Drunk Dial with Noah something. I can't remember the guy's last name.
I actually prefer the song without Post. I didn't realize I'd only heard it with Post.
Both versions are good, but I like Post Malone a lot.
I do too, and it's a good song, but I like the beat and the melody and all that. And if you listen to the full song with Noah without Post, it's a really good folky song. And
it is.
Post Malone does bring a good little segment to it. I do like it. I listen to it at least every other day, if not every daily. It comes on. Is that the Morgan one?
Yeah, with Post, yeah. This song's gonna hit. It's gonna be awesome. I don't even want to play anymore because we might be in trouble. I don't know, but yeah, I'm so excited for that song, dude. I'm so stoked because
Is that just like a clip?
Yeah.
Oh, they haven't released the whole song?
No. I'm a huge Morgan Wallen fan and I'm a huge Post Malone fan. You bring those together.
Kumbaya.
Magic. We'll see you next week.
Later.